Dr. Patti de Blasio. She is an MD, an integrative doctor out of San Clemente, California. And she is very familiar with stem cell, with light, with GHK, because she has done that all in her clinic, her practice. This week, we will be talking, of course, about our stem cell technology, the X39, and she's doing a deep dive on our glutathione technology. What is glutathione?
So we often call glutathione the master antioxidant. And I was thinking about a way to sort of explain it to myself and to my patients. And basically what we mean by an antioxidant is something that takes an oxidant out of our body. It's anti the oxidant, right? So an oxidant is something that our body produces, and it's actually a good thing initially. For example, an oxidant can take down a virus, all right? An oxidant can help our bodies to remove things that need to be removed. It can send signals to our inflammatory cells to go to certain places in our body that need help. An oxidant is a very unstable molecule in the body. And so what happens if it lingers too long, if it takes out the virus, great. But if it's staying in your body for weeks and months, it's going to take out a lot of good stuff with it because it's an unstable molecule and it just binds to this and grabs this like a little Pac-Man. And so what we want to do is use that oxidant when we need it for short bursts of time. But then we want to be able to remove it from our body as quickly as possible when it's no longer needed for something acute. And glutathione will latch on to that unstable oxidant that's running around causing trouble in our body, aging us basically, causing disease, and pull it out. And so that's why we call glutathione sort of the master antioxidant, because it's all over the body. It works all over the body. It can latch on to things that need to be latched onto to get out the debris, to get out the toxins in our body, to help prevent us from getting ill. And it also will latch on to some good things and activate them better in the body, like vitamin C or vitamin D. And so that's why we call it just the master antioxidant. It does so much for our body to help us detox and be healthy.
We have, it's not like an apple or something. It is, glutathione is a pathway in our body that's always going after oxidants or these free radicals that are not stable. Am I understanding that right?
So glutathione is a molecule. It's actually an amino acid as well.
Oh.
It works through, you're correct, it works through a glutathione pathway in the body. And so that chain of reactions then allows it to latch on, become active, and pull things out of the body. I've had some genetic testing done on myself, and my glutathione pathway, and there may be multiple ones, but the main glutathione pathway that we check doesn't work very efficiently. And I've never been able to take glutathione as a pill because it would make me very weak and my muscles would just get very flaccid. And so I was getting a double whammy. I wasn't able to do much with the little bit of glutathione I still had in my body, and yet I couldn't bring more in. So that's the beauty of the patch, is that you can use it a little more slowly if you need to, but it will begin to optimize your glutathione pathway in the body so that you're utilizing glutathione in the proper way.
Okay, I have two questions on that. First question is glutathione, what's the difference between an amino acid and a peptide? And I know we say GHK, which is the X39 patch, is a peptide. Is glutathione another peptide too? Are they different? I mean, you know what I mean? Are they in the same category but do different things, or are they different categories?
Yes, so amino acids are one thing, like let's say glycine would be a good example of an amino acid. And that is the G in GHK copper. And a peptide is a short chain, a combination. In this case, glutathione has 3 amino acids. Cysteine is another one that it has as a part of it. And GHK has 3
amino acids. So
amino acids. And that's what a peptide is, just a short chain of amino acids.
Oh my God, who knew that? I didn't know that. A peptide is a short chain of amino acids. So glutathione has 3 and GHK have 3, but they have 3 different amino acids, and that's a short chain peptide. Did I get that right?
That's right. And the combinations are different. So they may have maybe one would be the same, but then the others are different. So every peptide has a specific combination of amino acids, but it can't be a lot. It's just a very short chain of amino acids, and often it is 2 or 3, maybe 4 at the most.
Wow. So it sounds like these amino acids that move into peptides are the it thing. If we got a GHK that's so powerful and a glutathione that's so powerful, doing different things, you know, GHK is activating stem cells. It seems like glutathione is going after the oxidants. So we got, okay, I just have to put this together. So when I wear X39 and glutathione, X39 is activating my stem cells for repair, and glutathione's going after all the oxidants, all the unstable stuff that's attacking me. So I'm kind of getting double protection in different ways.
Yes, we are. And all of these pathways in our body are there for a reason. And if one of them's not working, it's sort of trying to run the race of life with, you know, like a 3-legged race where you've got 2, you know, tied together with a leg tied together with somebody else. And so we want to have all of our pathways activated, especially our detox pathways, because we are exposed to a lot of environmental chemicals and things that just aren't optimal. And that's why it's important for us to drink clean water, like you were saying, Marcy, and to eat organic food as much as possible, trying to avoid pesticides and eating clean and healthy. And the more clean and healthy we eat, the more some amino acids are essential to our bodies, and some of them we can really get through our food. So we need to make sure we're always eating that way so that we're not just depending on the glutathione patch to detox us. We want to prevent toxins from coming in as much as possible by our healthy, clean lifestyle. But then what we get there, then it needs to be removed. So both things are important.
And I have 2 questions on that too. But the first one is, we know that glutathione is a short chain amino acid that detoxes us. I just learned that today, by the way. And it moves through a pathway. Does GHK, is that a pathway too?
It is. It is. All of them are, you know, these pathways that we talk about. We have to have the raw material to activate the pathway to get it going. And so the more our body has to wait around to get the, you know, material to start, the more, you know, impaired we are and the less healthy we are. So we want to always have more stem cells at our command in case we do get exposed to something or get ill or whatever. We want to have more peptides at our command as well.
Wow. Okay. So then my next question is, you say we need our glutathione pathway, which detox, to work. What do you mean to detox? I understand that it gets rid of the oxidants, so it grabs those little free radicals, but let's just be honest. Like, I got bacteria, fungus, virus, mold. I just, there's heavy metals, there's Roundup everywhere. Gosh, I met a lady that they just tested Roundup and found it in school lunches. I mean, I just a little bit scary, honestly, the toxins that are going in our body that we don't even fully know about, Patti. Like, explain what that means, and how does glutathione help protect us from that?
Well, it does, because that's one reason we call it the master antioxidant, because it's able to latch on. And so everything that we have in our body is constantly being broken down and built up, like bone, for example, like cells. It's constantly changing, right? Our skin's constantly changing. And so that produces some cell debris that has to be removed in order for more rejuvenation to occur. So we want to get rid of cell debris. We want to get rid of any toxins that we have unknowingly maybe brought in. We're eating all organic, but maybe that farm is next to a farm that's not organic, and the wind blows some of the glyphosate or pesticide over into our food. And so we want to be able to get rid of other things. So glutathione is great to detox for heavy metal. Any major toxins, it helps to protect us from viruses and other, like you said, bacteria, anything that might get a little out of hand in our body that needs to be pulled back. And so it can just go after that through a process where it attaches to that debris, that heavy metal, that virus, and inactivates it. And then through that pathway, ultimately pulls it out through the body, and we either pee or poop it out.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I just got it. I just finally got the process. Okay, so you got this virus running around, you got this metal running around, you got this Roundup running around in your body, and it's a toxin. And glutathione comes up and attaches to it and says, we're gonna put the fire out. That's going bye-bye. And then it takes it down and eliminates it through pooping or peeping. Did I just get that?
Yes, the most of the time that's correct. Sometimes we can eliminate through sweating. And there are some other ways that we can eliminate through our body, but most of it's done through poop for the most part.
Through poop. So we really do need to have good, consistent bowel movements, because that's where the toxin's coming out. Is that right?
Yeah. And, David Schmidt mentioned that too. The idea that your doctor could say, oh, it's okay if you're just pooping every second or third day. It's really not, because you're not getting the toxins out. They're just, staying. And you want to have that constant ability so you can remove them as quickly as possible from your body. So it's really important to have good elimination, which goes back to good eating, right? Habits and exercise.
Yes.
And plenty of water. Water is important. We know we have to have that.
Somebody said, and this is not really a water conversation, but somebody said, is alkaline water home filtration a good choice? I'm not sure what water system that is, but maybe you can give us 2 minutes on water.
So alkaline is good, yes. And what happens is, in our Western world, in our Western diet, we're always eating more of an acidic diet if we're eating fast food and we're eating packaged food and junk food and so on. And our body then gets very acidic, and that is disease producing in our body, which leads to things like type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure and coronary artery disease and et cetera, et cetera. And so what we want to do is alkalize our body. Alkaline water is helpful. Fruits and vegetables help to alkalize our body. Red meats and packaged foods help to make it more acidic. So we want to try to eliminate, or at least greatly decrease, those things, and eat more fruits, vegetables, and drink good water. And so there are many different kinds of processes of water. There's even structured water. David has talked about that. It's a whole different concept and idea. If you want to really wrap your head around something interesting, look up structured water. And it may be even more amazing than, all the water purification systems. But yeah, and because it's sort of on a different plane. It's an energy type water. Very interesting. Yeah.
I have another question for you. I've had some moms talk to me lately about themselves and their children with this glutathione pathway that doesn't work. And I'm sorry, I can't exact MFT something or other. What are they talking about? What is that? Do you know what that is? And how does they say it doesn't even matter if they take glutathione because their pathway doesn't work. And can I tell them when we take the X39 glutathione that we can get that working or help repair it? I don't know how to answer that. And it seems like a lot of special need kids have this pathway that's not working. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so it's MTHFR. It's what we call methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. Doesn't work so well in our body. All that means there's about 25% of us probably that have that pathway. We're not as able to do what we call methylate, which means we attach a methyl group. That's a group, a chemical group, onto things to detox, and it pulls it out. If you don't methylate very well, you're not going to detox as well. Now, Everybody has the ability to detox some. That's one reason why my glutathione pathway doesn't work well, because I also have the methylation issue. That's why you should always take methylated folate and methylcobalamin, folate and B12, if you have that issue. I just give it to all my patients because probably most of us that have chronic situations probably are methylator, we don't methylate too well. And so that's probably what they're talking about. But the glutathione patch, it's going to activate help your own pathway to work better, to take glutathione, and we all have some of that. I mean, maybe there would be some person that genetically was so impaired that they basically couldn't live, because we all have some of it, but we just need more optimal. And so that's why the patch overcomes that and helps to gradually upregulate that pathway in our body, because it's not giving us glutathione that we don't know what to do with because we can't methylate, right?
Okay, no, explain that one more time. It's because it's not giving us glutathione that we don't know how to deal with, and we can't methylate it. So IV glutathione, pill glutathione, liposomal glutathione, how does that work different for an MTHFR person that doesn't methylate well versus our patch that activates your own glutathione for 12 hours?
So glutathione itself, if your body doesn't know how to bring it into the cell, it's not going to be helpful. So we've got to have a pathway to take that glutathione and bring it into our cell. And that's where it becomes activated and works for us. So when you're taking in glutathione externally, like I tried to do for years, what happens is it hangs out in the bloodstream, and all you get is side effects from the glutathione. You can get a rash, you can get a headache, you can get very sick and nauseated from those glutathione pushes. And I'm seeing it happening more and more because you just can't take it in fast enough, and it hangs out in the blood and makes you sick. When we activate our own and do it gently, so that we are doing what we call up-regulate the cell receptors. What that means is our cells have gone, we don't know what to do with glutathione, we're not taking it in. But as we begin to gently activate that glutathione pathway in our body through the light of healing and infrared light healing frequency, as we do that, that's the natural way, then we actually benefit, and our body cells produce new receptors. They bring the glutathione out of the bloodstream where it can cause side effects and gently into our body. But we have no glutathione hanging out in our bloodstream right now that we're taking in through the patch, because there's no drugs. So it doesn't cause that problem.
Is that because the light is activating just as much glutathione as those receptors can take in, because light and our bodies, I guess you could go back to biblical times now, they're meant to be together. And so you basically then slowly, that glutathione from the patch will tell those receptors, it's okay, open up a little bit. I just got a little right now. And then it will give a little more. And where when you do a push, it's just external glutathione that cell can't handle. And I'll tell, I think in a moment, I just want to make sure I'm right about that, but I'll tell you on glutathione, we call glutathione no joke, where the X39 is the workhorse of the line. Glutathione is super powerful, especially for the MTHFR people who maybe take 25 to 50% of the folks that can't methylate as fast. So no, with glutathione, you can upregulate yourself, titrate yourself up, just wear a half of a patch for a couple hours one day. And then the next day, wear the other half of a patch. Dr. Patti is one of those people that has a pathway that doesn't methylate very well. How did you start yourself up with glutathione?
Right. And the reason we have to start that glutathione patch slowly, and I'm so glad you asked that, because I did want to make sure this is clear, is because it's causing our body to detox. So if we're not detoxing well before this, we've got a lot of stuff in our body that needs to come out. And so if all of a sudden we're just hitting it and it's all coming out, then we can get a headache or a rash or feel fatigue or not feel good, right? And so we want to gradually allow that detox to happen. And that's why if you're sensitive, or for any of my patients, I do what Marcy just said. We just take off one side, one half of the patch, and then you just wear that maybe even an hour or two and make sure you're really hydrating. If you do start feeling a problem, and my lovely sponsor with LifeWave, Karen, told me about this because I was telling her some of the issues. And she said, yeah, you just put that on and maybe just wear it an hour that day. And then the next day you put it back on, wear it for 2 hours, and you gradually increase it. And I'm like the most super sensitive person ever. You know, if I just look at a vitamin, I have some reaction often. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try this. And that's what I did. And it took me, I don't know, Karen might remember better than I do, but I'd say a month or two before I was wearing it 12 hours full patch. And now, you know, ever since then, it's been great.
So you have a pathway that doesn't methylate. So here's the doctor explaining methylation and the patient who doesn't methylate well. And she just said she titrated herself up with glutathione a little bit at a time, an hour at a time. And now, I mean, what's amazing is your testimonial that even someone with a pathway that may not be functioning correctly, you can still, with this product, methylate your, or titrate yourself up so you can fully methylate. I mean, that's pretty, that's a pretty big statement, doctor.
It is. And you don't ever like cut the patch in half, because that would destroy the mid part of it. You just take a little bit of the part off and then wear it for a period of time. You take it off of you. Let's say you wore it an hour that day and you put it just in a little glass jar, and then you can reuse it. And I've been able to reuse them pretty well for, you know, a period of time. Occasionally one may not want to stick, but for the most part, they work pretty well. And you can always use a little medical grade tape. Karen had told me if you need to, you know, if it's not sticking and you still have more left in it, you haven't used it for 12 hours.
Well, all I can tell you is I learned a lot today. I hope you all learned a lot.